A circular saw blade has to be sharp enough and strong enough to rip through the toughest materials. Everything from hardwood to titanium. No single material can deliver both the strength and the sharpness needed. So the secret is combining a super strong base with a super sharp tip. The saw blades start out as flat sheets of a special kind of steel called chrome vanadium. This type of steel is reinforced with chromium, an extremely hard metal that's known for its strength, toughness and resistance to wear. To cut the sheets into saw blades, a worker uses a template and a compass to draw out circles that are roughly the size of the finished blades. He then follows the outline of the circle with the sharp blade of a shear press to cut out each blank. The steel is so hard, it takes 2.2 tons of pressure just to cut through it. Next, a smaller press uses a flywheel with a hard steel cutting tip to cut out the center hole which is needed to mount the finished blade to a saw, such as a chop saw. Oil coats the blanks so the cutter and the blanks aren't damaged by the intense friction of metal on metal. When the center hole is finished, the blanks are ready to cut their teeth. An electric high-speed mill uses a hard rotating grinding wheel to grind 60 cutting teeth into each blank. The teeth help the blade rip through whatever it's cutting. And the valleys or gullets between the teeth are there so the cut debris can drop away so it doesn't jam the saw. After the teeth are cut, things really heat up. The blades are cooked in a furnace at a scorching 900 degrees Celsius. The heat lines up the molecules in the steel, which makes it even harder and tougher than before. Then, to lock in all that strength, the blades are plunged into a vat of oil. The oil is warm, but nowhere near as hot as the furnace. The sudden drop in temperature freezes the molecules in place, so the blades will hold their strength. While the metal is still warm from the quenching oil, a press flattens the blades with 90 kilos of pressure so they won't warp. Then a sand-like drying agent works like cat litter to absorb any remaining oil. Then the blades are heated one more time to make them even stronger. And this time the blanks are pressed as they're heated with 550 kilos of pressure. That's to make sure the molecules stay in line and the blades don't warp. After the blades cool, a worker hammers out any flaws. The blade must be completely flat, otherwise it won't cut properly. A grinder smooths the blade. Then it gets another hammering. Each blow of the hammer adds to the tension, rigidity and strength in the metal. But it's the carbide tips that are soldered to the saw blade's teeth that make this saw blade super sharp. Carbide is 4 times stronger than the steel used to make the saw blade. It also has a higher melting point than the steel, so it won't wear as much under the intense heat caused by the friction of cutting. And it can be machined to a sharper edge. the final shaping of the super strong carbide tips has to be done with a special grinding wheel. The wheel is studded with one of the few things that's actually harder than carbide: industrial diamonds. A second diamond-studded wheel sharpens the tips to precise cutting angles. And when all the teeth are fully shaped and sharpened, this blade is ready to cut through just about anything, including the very steel it's made from.